Hi everybody, this is the advanced cutting video for month 3, big block 3, the first rectangle. So remember we had two 24-inch squares, then we're going to have 6 12 by 24-inch rectangles. So we're going to get this one cut and then we'll do an assembly video. It's pretty easy, this one's going to go together really quickly. So Michelle, you want to bring the camera down? Okay, so you're going to have a lot of background fabric. So you have two big pieces. The long skinny piece, we are going to cut our, they need to be cut into 3.5 by 24.5 inch strips. So I'm going to show you a few tricks to cut that length. And then this big boy has to be cut into a whole bunch of different sizes, which we will go through, okay? Then we have in the kit, we also have 5 different of the colors that we are going to make flying geese out of using the stitch and flip method. And that's the whole block this month. So the biggest challenge is cutting all of this. And I'm just going to tell you, these are going to be flying geese, and I really struggled with trying to decide if we should make all the flying geese in the first month and then save them, or make them as we go. And I made the decision to make them as we go, and that way if there's one color you don't like, you haven't made, more than you need of all the different colors. So these are the colors this month, and I'm pretty excited about it. All right, so we're going to start with the long piece here. And like I said, we need two 24.5 inch. We need two, take a breath, Laurie. They need to be 3.5 inches wide and 24.5 inches long. And my ruler is 24.5 inches long. So what I'm going to do is I am going to clean cut one edge and then move it down and keep it straight and make the strips 24.5 first. That way I can use this ruler to cut the 3.5 inch strips. So I really have nothing to line up to other than I just need to clean cut one edge. So I'm going to do that and just cut a straight strip. And then I'm going to flip this around, and now I'm going to line my edge of my ruler right up on that freshly cut edge. And I want it to be nice and straight. And then I'm going to come down and I'm going to make sure that is straight. You know what I'm going to do to make sure is I'm going to put that on a line on my mat. See how, that way I know it is straight and I know where to put this too. So that perfect. I feel much better about that. Except I did this. Get out. All right, let's line that up again. And these are kind of, and we're going to have, I'm just going to tell you right now, all 6 of the rectangle blocks are going to have these 3.5 by 24.5 strips. So this is something you want to get good at because you're going to cut, you'll have this piece every month. And then I'm going to cut this. Now we're at 24.5, okay? Now I'm going to slide this down, keeping it nice and straight so that I can clean cut with the 2 ends straight. I'm going to clean cut an edge, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and use the long side. Just take your time, the long side of my ruler. Now I can slide this up. And I can come to the 3.5 inch line, and now everything, all 3 sides should be able to be straight and lined up. So I have this side, and that side. Now, ultimately, for me to cut this, I need to tilt it a little bit. I'm going to move my ironing surface out of the way. Sorry about that, should have thought of that. I'm kind of right-handed, and I'm just going to tilt this enough that I can get behind it. Okay, there. I feel better with that, so I check. I've still got the 3.5, and now I can easily cut this. There's my first 3.5 by 24, and now I'm going to lay this back down. And again, make sure all aspects of it are straight. And if, there we go, that looks good. And I'm gonna cut this one. And I now have two 3.5 by 24.5 inch strips. That will be the top and bottom of this block. So, you don't need my phone. If you look, what we just cut is this piece right here and this piece right here. See that? So the top and the bottom, that's what these two pieces are. Okay? Pretty cool? That wasn't so hard. If they get longer than 24.5, I'm in trouble because that's the size of my ruler. Alrighty, next we are going to cut the other big piece. And as you can see as I have this laid out, that I have a whole bunch of different sizes I need to cut. So I need to cut 10 3.5 inch squares, 3 3.5 by 2.5 inch rectangles, 2 3.5 by 5.5, and 2 3.5 by 1.5. The common measurement there is 3.5 inches. So the first thing you want to do is just cut all of this whole big piece down into 3.5 inch strips. And then you'll be able to get all the pieces out that you need, okay? So again, I am going to lay this out. It's 18.5 inches wide, so your 24.5 inch ruler is gonna work great. I'm gonna clean cut an edge, and I'm just gonna turn it over, and I'm gonna start cutting 3.5 inch strips. So I'm gonna get 5 of those. Put this over, looking for my 3.5 line. And remember, the only thing we have straight at this point is this clean cut edge. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I pre-shrunk this fabric, and I also did use quite a bit of best press on it, just so that it was nice and stiff and easy to work with. So there's my 5 3.5 inch strips. And so the first 3, I need to cut 3 3.5 inch squares. So I am going to stack these up, I think. And make sure they're good and even. And I'm going to clean cut one edge. Now, to be honest with you, I have the Stripology ruler at home, and I would normally cut these with the Stripology ruler, and that way I wouldn't have to manipulate them. But, so I need 3.5 inch here. There's 1. I got all 3 sides lined up. And if you can't get all 3 sides lined up, know that you've got enough fabric, you can clean cut an edge to straighten it if you need to. There's 2. Okay, I'm happy with that. There's 3. Now, at the bottom of the first 2, it says we need a 1.5 inch by 3.5 inch. So since I'm here, I am going to go ahead and cut that 1.5 right here, and so that they're already cut. So I've got all my 3.5s, well, not all of them. Yeah, I do have all my 3.5s. And I have my 1.5s by 3.5s. You only need 2, I cut 3 because I have lots of extra fabric at the bottom. So there's that. Now these 2, excuse me, oh, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I only need the 2, sorry. Okay, so this one, yeah, don't let me cut my 24.5s at this point. That would not be, I would not be happy. I'm going to clean cut this edge, And then I need, if I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, a 3.5 inch square, because we needed an even number. We needed 10 and I only had 9 with what I just did. So there's 10. Then I need 3 2.5 inch rectangles. So I'm going to cut those. 1, with the amount of fabric you need for these bigger blocks, you really don't want to make too many mistakes, especially in the background. If you haven't bought a boo-boo kit yet, I would highly recommend it. So I needed 3 2.5s. Now on my last one, I need 2 5.5s, and then I will have everything cut. So not too bad to cut today. So clean cut, and then flip it over, and now we're going to find the 5.5. Remember, when you can read the black dots, you're on the 1/2 inch side. If you can read the white dots, normally you're on the full inch. So there's my 5.5. I've got 1, and I'm going to come over here and line this one up, and that gives me 2. And I have a few little pieces left over. I would save them in case something goes terribly wrong. Keep them in the bank. But so now if I look at all my, oh, I have a little, wait a minute, I forgot these guys. I'm not done.
Those guys.
Those are the pretty ones. All right, so these are the base of the flying geese, and they all need to measure 3.5 by 6.5. And I'm only going to do 2 at a time, just because I want to make sure I don't mess anything up. So I'm going to cut this way first to be 3.5. So I'm going to clean cut an edge. Okay. And then I'm going to, and I've got 2 stacked here, and I'll do that with all of them. And then I'll put the 3.5 on there. There we go. Now I happen to have my square 6.5. Oh, is this the 6? My square 6.5 inch ruler. So I'm just going to put this down, get a line straight going, and then I can cut on both sides of it and save myself some time of flipping around. So there's 2, and I'm going to do the same thing with 2 more, and then I'll do 1. When I'm not using the what do you call it? The stripology that's heavy and holds it in place, I like to only stack 2 at a time. I find it's more accurate. Okay, I'm going to clean cut this again. Oops, Laurie, don't cut your finger off in front of everybody. And then the 3.5. There we go. And put that right there. And again, center that and go here and here. There's 2 more. Aren't those pretty colors? And now the last one. Okay, and then our 6.5. Perfect. Love it when I have the exact size ruler. There you go. So there's your pretty colors. And then these are all of your pieces. The 3.5 inch squares are going to end up being what we stitch and flip. So I've got all of those. Okay. And then all of these little guys are going to be your fillers. So if you look, I can show you where they're going to go. And then we have the 2 by 24. So your fillers are going to be in between the 2 ends, in between here, this one, and those 2. So the block is cut, and our next video will show you, we'll do the stitch and flip for the flying geese, and then we'll show you how to assemble it.